All right, everybody, welcome back. I heard you loud and clear. We are relaunching. We are rebranding. If you're here today and listening and watching, you're a business owner, a franchise owner, a studio owner, and you're an entrepreneur looking for best practices, both the highlights as well as what to watch out for and the messiness and the dark side of being an entrepreneur. So we're getting right into it. Welcome to the launch of season 2 of the Owner Seat, formerly known as the Valisights Podcast, where fitness and wellness owners step out from behind the brand and into the numbers, decisions, and hard calls it takes to grow. This is the show where we talk cash flow, unit economics, and the messy middle of scaling, and as I mentioned, being an entrepreneur. So you can stay in control of your business rather than letting it run you. So today's guest, super excited to kick this off. He's building one of the most ambitious and aggressive roll-ups in the global fitness and marketing ecosystem. If you haven't heard of him, you're going to today, and more so within the industry. Benji Donhardt is the co-founder and CEO of SupaFitGrow, a fast-scaling M&A platform consolidating fitness marketing, growth, and sales agencies into one powerhouse ecosystem serving the fitness, wellness, and halo economy. What started as a frustration with a fragmented support landscape for gym owners has become a blueprint for how small operators can finally get big league leverage, shared services, AI infrastructure, can't wait to chat about that, and serious economies of scale. Benji's path is anything but linear. You'll learn that today. From the military to working with the Australian Special Forces. Wow. To owning multiple gyms, to now acquiring and integrating agencies that sit behind some of the most strongest brands in the space, and you know some of them. His obsession is simple. Make sure that everyone, the little guys, don't get wiped out because we're too slow to embrace AI in our industry and systematize growth. So we'll jump in this episode. We're going to talk about the fitness support ecosystem and how it's broken, and how SupaFitGrow is stitching it together and is going to be the glue. You're going to have them in your space. The power of M&A and roll-ups as a growth engine for boutique agencies, how AI avatars and automation are rewriting the rules for lead generation. And finally, we're going to get it from Benji. We're going to pick his brain on the operator playbook for helping small business owners finally scale beyond themselves. Benji, I know that was a mouthful, but man, I got to hype you up because you're doing a lot and you're crushing it. Welcome to the Owner Seat.
Man, what an absolute incredible intro. I really appreciate that, mate. That's
appreciate
awesome.
You. No, seriously, getting to know you here now over the last couple of weeks and months, it's been such a pleasure. You are extremely hard worker. You got people all globally throughout the world here working with SupaFitGrow, and then the brands. I'm like, who is behind these brands? And I finally get to meet him and get to learn about the organization. So I want to start there, if you don't mind. Tell us the moment when the idea of SupaFitGrow just clicked for you. What happened and what was the problem you were looking to solve for?
Yeah, great question. So back in 2021, I had a small sales consulting agency. So I used to walk into fitness studios, boutique studios, and basically used to secret shop them for the owners. So the owners would hire me and I would secret shop them. This was back in 2019.
I love that.
And basically secret shop them, assess their sales process. And then from there, I'd write a report, and then I'd provide them with either a half a day sales training or a full day sales training, or I'd take over and do their sales for them, depending on which studio and how their structure was. So that was 2019. Everything was going good, really good little business, had about 3 or 4 staff, and we were working really well, getting some great results for fitness studios here in Australia. And then COVID hit, the big C word. So COVID hit and everything crashed down. We still had a couple of clients who were different states where some gyms were allowed open, some were closed. But initially it was, everything shut down and everything paused. So did our best to keep staff on and to keep working. And even though it was very uncertain then, we were still working leads ready for when we were going to open or when gyms would open. But what we found was leads come a lot more scarce, and I started seeing the pipelines and started the CRMs were a lot more less new fresh leads coming in, and it was harder
Right.
to get leads. Through COVID, I think there was also the birth of a lot more competition, a lot more franchises started popping up, and leads got quite hard to come across. So I met a co-founder back then in 21, and he came from a marketing background and I came from the sales background, and we did a few test pilot clients, and the rest is history. It just, SupaFitGrow was born. We did
Amazing.
did a few test clients, and we just got incredible results. Really had a deep passion for solving a problem, which was obviously the conversions. The number one thing is the conversions of getting members into the gyms, and then
Yeah.
getting the right quality of leads in. So gym owners and fitness studio owners, wellness owners, they're not talking to hundreds of leads. They're talking to leads that are qualified and that really want to be
Oh, I
there
love that.
in that location. So
And
that's
they
where
think they're going to be
that's how I was born.
they're going to be pumped up to hear about this because I think a
Mm,
lot of people in our industry, they understand from dues. I mean, that is typically from 70% up to 90+% of your entire business. Leads appointment shows aren't going away. However, what you're saying is as it's gotten noisier, more saturated, and more competitive, you have to have a strategy to be hyper focused
mm,
and narrow your target, your ICP. And so
exactly.
walk me through that because there's a lot of sales companies out there,
Mm,
right?
mm,
AI and even marketing.
mm.
But how do you differentiate your organization and what are you all doing that you saw no one was truly owning?
Yeah, look, the biggest thing that we focus on, a huge component of what we market and how we market is brand awareness marketing, telling your story, and really like showing your personal brand. So whether you're in a private standalone mum and pop's studio or gym, or whether you're in a franchise, if you're in a franchise, you've got a brand that you've bought into, but you have a personal story of why you opened that location. So that's what must be told. And 9 times out of 10, all I see is the same advertising, very
Right.
similar videos, similar offers, generic offers, templates, banner offers, and they all looks the same. So as a company, the industry is growing, all the ads are starting to look the same. So
Right.
from say a boxing studio to a functional fitness studio to a yoga studio, even though it says yoga, boxing, or functional fitness, all the ads look the same. So what we empower people to do is really tell their story and get on there and run some really strong brand marketing campaigns to get your eyeballs on more of your local target audience. And then exactly that, understand your ICP before you run your marketing, right? Because you're not for everyone. And that's where all the gym owners and fitness studios go wrong. They think they're for everyone when they're not. So you must understand your ideal client profile. 9 times out of 10, people don't really understand that. So we educate them. And a big part of what we do is education as well. So educating them on it's all good and well to spend money on lead gen and expect immediate results. That's not reality. You need to have a proper and clear strategy. So running that brand marketing campaign, then understanding your ICP through all that. When you start running lead gen, let Meta do its learning phase. So go through the learning phase, whether it's Meta or Google. You have to understand that it's a long-term play. It's not a short fix. And most business owners, they think they just want it straight away. And it's not the case.
I love it. And we're going to get into unit economics. And as you're saying all of these things, you're talking about measurables. And I just right off the bat, customer
Mm,
acquisition cost, CAC, right? The amount of owners that I speak to when I lift up the hood as a fractional CFO that know what their customer acquisition cost is very slim. I love that you focus on that and you have a very direct visibility of what that
mm,
is and how you improve it. I do
mm,
want to circle back though, because you mentioned, and I said it in the bio there in the intro, that you've actually been an operator. That gives you a little bit of leverage and some
mm,
strength because if you think about it, and there's nothing against it, right? There's many people in the corporate office, let's call it, that have been really good at strategy. They've never been
mm,
an operator. And so, man, kudos to you to hear that you're running
mm,
this large organization worldwide, but you started boots on the ground in the
mm.
gym. Can you walk us through that, what that was like and how it impacts some of your
Yeah.
decision making now as you partner up with these brands?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Back in 2015, I'd put my discharge paperwork in for the military, and I had two friends who were opening an F-45 studio back in 2015. And anyway, so I left the military and we opened. We had no clue what we were doing. None of us.
I
And we
love that.
thought we
I think we
did.
can all relate with that.
We didn't. We had no clue. We were like, what's like marketing? What's that? Like, let's just go around handing out flyers. Like, this is,
Yeah.
we're all very green. We opened very successfully, which was really good. And I guess what it does when you've been an operator before, I don't think again, you can still have great strategy when you're not an operator, but I think it just, you can understand the client. You can understand,
Right.
like, from their point, how hard it's actually going to be. So you can shed a bit of light onto the reality of the situation. Another thing we see is really poor pre-sales, and they worry about the equipment being in the right spot, or this paint being this color, or this, and they don't worry about the marketing. Right. So sometimes we ask like owners, what's your pre-marketing, like what's your pre-sale marketing budget? They won't know. They just say, oh,
Right.
we don't really have a budget.
Just winging it.
So it gives us, being an owner and being managing and running studios, it really gives you a good understanding of what actually has to happen and the reality. So reality of, again, marketing's not always linear, right? It's up and down. And it's not, I guess, don't be reactive. So a lot of
Yeah.
business owners are very reactive, and it's always more efficient to be proactive and make sure that you're always, ahead of the ball. You're always thinking of that next step, always planning ahead,
Right.
doing your quarterly planning, going over your monthly numbers, having your team meetings. I think, again, when people are sold either a franchise or they get into the gym space, they're passionate about fitness, but they don't understand that it's one thing to be passionate about fitness, but then you're going to be a business owner and it all
Yeah.
changes.
It's
You're
huge.
pretty much doing more business than what you are fitness.
I think a lot of franchise owners that are listening to this, or franchisees, can relate with that quite a bit.
Mm,
Is I went into this very passionate, maybe even was a member, had some additional capital that I could invest in, or had the
mm,
opportunity for channels. And then when I got in, I didn't realize the marketing side, the sales side, the finance side. It's
mm.
a real thing.
A lot.
Let me ask you this. This was super impressive. I didn't know this about you, the Australian Special Forces.
Mm.
How's that shaped how you operate on a daily basis as a CEO, or even as you're coaching other brands, leaders within other brands?
Yeah, working with them was a massive eye opener. The standards so you got normal military and then you got special forces. I
Right.
entered in with the normal military. So just the, normal military that way. And then I wanted to swap over and change into and move into the special forces. So part of that transition, you have to work with them for a certain period of time.
Wow.
And I pushed and pushed. And I always, whenever I do something, I want to do it at the elite. I want to do it at the best I possibly can. And I want to be challenged and push myself. So the biggest thing I learned was the standards that they hold themselves to and the accountability they hold each other to. So the standards are super, 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 super high. And
Yeah.
when, like, for instance, if there's a bit of rubbish on the floor and you're in their compound, someone will pick it up. They won't just kick it around. Where in the normal military, they'll just walk past it. So little things like that, never leave a man behind, that sort of thing. So you're always looking out for your team. In leadership is, again, you're only as fast as your slowest man. So you've got to understand that not everyone's equal, and how do we all play to each other's strengths? There was a lot of
Nice.
stuff I learned, like there was a lot of stuff in there I was seeing that was toxic as well. So I learned a lot of what to do and then of what not to do as
I
well.
love that. Well,
Mm,
before we pivot into M&A, because I want to talk about your roll-up
mm,
strategy, I do want to ask you, as you look at 2025, and we're about finished up here, and even look into 2026 across the fitness and wellness
mm.
agency landscape, what do you feel like is still the most broken part of it? Is the strategy? Is it the execution? Is it accountability? What is it out there? And how is your brand supporting that and fixing it?
I think there's a couple of things. I think there's, with obviously the rise of AI, I think that's been a lot of noise. And I think, like, with that signal versus noise analogy, I think a lot of people and a lot of agencies have come off the track and looked into AI. We've done it. We looked into, voice AI, and we got distracted with it a little bit, and it sort of can take your eyes off the actual key problems that are in the industry, and within the marketing space. So I feel 25 was a big learning curve for a lot of people, and a lot of agencies. Going into 26, I'm grateful for 25 because we've learned a lot of lessons, and we've got a lot of clarity of exactly what the strategy is going to be and how we're going to attack 26. And that's by means of strategic partnerships, what we're actually going to focus on in regards to the marketing component. What I did see in 25 was a huge pattern in the way we create content in our industry. Everyone, like, we're in such a fun and exciting and hyped up industry, yet, and we've got exceptional coaches and trainers and stuff like that. But when we ask them to create content, it's probably 2%, 2 to 3% of the people, of the coaches can do it. No one
Right.
else, and they just don't create it.
They don't
And
have the skill set.
it really hurts the performance of campaigns.
Yeah.
So I think, again, the major focus for 26 is how do we educate our industry to create more exciting and converting content.
I love it. Well, there's a lot of people in the audience that are looking to expand in 2026, and that
Mm,
could be from just additional units, maybe acquiring different units. And what I learned about your organization is you're almost like a conglomerate. Not only you operating this worldwide marketing and sales agency, SupaFitGrow, but you're also acquiring smaller marketing and growth agencies. So
mm.
as you're sifting through and going through the due diligence process, what is your non-negotiable checklist? I bet there's some that are watching this like, man, I want to talk to him, but they need to meet your requirements. Speaking of high standards, right? As a special
Mm.
forces leader, what are your non-negotiables for those businesses that you're looking at?
Yeah, look, they've got the non-negotiables. Core values is the first one. So what are their core
Okay.
values? Why do they exist? And who do they serve? So, for instance, going after, if we were to acquire a company that had all their eggs in one basket with one brand, probably a big no-no, right? Because it's high risk.
Right.
Having a diverse portfolio of clients is definitely something we look for. And then obviously talent. So we look at their team, we look at like who's on their team, what their roles are. And again, the core values of each team member is super, super important. Yes, they have to be profitable, or they have to have the ability to become profitable, through obviously implementation of systems, processes, AI playbooks, stuff like that. But the number one thing is core values and alignment with the CEO or the founders,
Well, I was
because
going
if
to
it's
ask you
not aligned,
next.
yeah,
Yeah, I was going to ask you that next as people are looking to acquire and even raise capital, right? That's a strategic partner that's
mm,
being introduced to the business. But
mm.
as you're rolling up and looking to acquire these marketing agencies, walk me through the partner, is there any watch out fors that, that's just not someone that's going to fit within our culture? It's probably not an organization that we want to acquire. Maybe they're just not going to be part of the transition. How do you go through that?
Yeah, look, it's a lot. Like, obviously building relationships is the biggest thing. So I build relationships with everyone in our industry. I try with some tell me to fuck off and they don't want to bar me. They don't want to even talk to me. I'll look at that as a compliment. It doesn't really bother me. But really understanding and building relationships with those companies and with those owners, with the founders, and you can just feel it. I'm a big person on intuition and gut. And if they're not the right, even if it was the most profitable company, but the core values, or we weren't aligned and we weren't sharing that same vision. We want people that understand our vision, that understand what we're trying to do here for the industry.
Yeah.
And if they're not aligned with it and there is any friction, like any relationship, it won't work. It won't work
Yeah.
out. That's what we look
Well,
for.
you're obviously acquiring so that you can go replicate your playbook. And so can you walk us through maybe the top 2 or 3 things that you do that is going to work, that's going to make those
Mm.
businesses that you acquire more profitable and less chaotic?
Look, it's a little bit of both. So we look for, so they could have strategic capabilities that we don't have that could
Oh, I
enhance
love
what
that.
we do.
Yeah.
So what we look for is, how do we acquire companies that have the ability to cross sell, upsell? How do we implement this strategy that they use and we don't? What about what we do and they don't? So it's a little bit of both. We're not just doing it because we're not the best in the world, because we aren't the best. I mean, we've got a vision that I believe is the best, and it's super, super strong, and it can provide a better solution for the consumers, for the industry, for the owners, and even for the franchisors as we consolidate. The industry is going to have better results, because we're going to have, like they say, more heads are better than none,
Right.
if you will.
No, I
More brains.
love that. I love that
Mm,
you also think about that too. Is how can they
mm,
improve our flagship, the
Exactly.
mothership in a
Yeah,
sense, right? And I
exactly.
think for those out there that are looking to acquire, that's the other, you actually got to flip it a little bit is, well, what are the
Yep,
things that they do that actually will help the entire system?
exactly.
That's really
Exactly.
interesting. I'm always thinking about how are we improving them? What are we doing there?
Yeah,
But
it's
it's
that,
actually
yeah,
both.
exactly. And it could be like a lot of agency owners do have limiting mindsets, so limiting beliefs, and
Yeah.
how to even there might be a company that is at X revenue and EBITDA, and they want to exit. They don't want to do this forever, and they want to get to a certain point. How can we use our skills and help them get to that? How can we help them do that?
Right. That's
Mm.
so good. Well, you talk about, and I think you posted it about it recently, is productizing, sorry, a service delivery model. Can you walk us through your ecosystem as you're acquiring these different brands? I'd imagine there's this ecosystem vertical. And so how do you do that from a product service? What do you all offer at SupaFitGrow?
Yeah, so we offer Meta, Google, and all the digital ads. We've got a full creative team. We offer creative guidance as well, which we want to take to the next level in 26. So creative guidance meaning a lot of people don't understand how to do creative, how to create and be creators, because that's what they are, and that's what the platforms are wanting now is creative, really strong creative. So that's one of our biggest differentiators is the really strong brand and emphasizing really understanding the customer before they come in. And we get this all the time. How quickly can you get us set up? It's like, well, we can get you set up in 5 days, or we can take some time and understand your brand, especially if they're a private brand and like a standalone brand. They will probably be competing against franchises. We go deep inside of their brand, understand their brand, and then again, storytelling, brand awareness is going to go first. We're going to launch that. We're going to get eyeballs. You guys are going to get into your like local audience, and people are going to start to build an emotional connection with you online.
Right.
That's what it's about. 90% of this is our analogy. 90% of the sale is done through the marketing. 10% of the sale is just when they come through the doors, amazing experience, and they
Right.
convert.
Yeah.
So that's a biggest point of difference, and that's really what we are trying to get and help the industry understand is brand, and storytelling. Good creative, not let's just be the same as everyone else. And
Right.
unfortunately, that's what is happening. And it's not a fault of the agency owners. It's just the way the industry has evolved.
Sure.
And I believe the industry has grown way too quick. We're still a very immature industry, and it's
Right.
grown way too fast. And we've got like, again, we haven't kept up.
Well, we're going to talk about what's moving fast here, whether it's
Mm,
hype or actually real. We're going to get into AI, but before I do, you have a pretty big growth target, right? For those
mm,
that own any type of these agencies, you want to hear this. Your growth targets, let's just call it a couple dozen over the next 5 years as far as
mm.
acquisitions go. Now,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people out there that also want to expand, and sometimes there's roadblocks. And I thought it'd be great to just hear from you. I'm sure there's a lot of highlights and you got your plan. You're going to go do it. I know this. Just
Mm,
knowing you, you're going to go do it. But
mm.
what are the things that you need to overcome as the leader of the org, as an organization in totality?
Yeah, it's a lot. There's rejection. There's a lot of people get, obviously, that's their business. It's their baby. They've built it. They may feel
Right.
like, oh, who's this guy? Like, because we're only very young in the industry. Like, I've been on a call with an agency where it was basically fuck off. Like, why are you on this call with me?
Yeah.
I don't want to, you know what I mean? So it's handling a lot of rejection and helping people understand the mission
Right.
that this is for the industry. It's not just for personal gain. It's how do we consolidate? And it has been done in other industries. How do we consolidate all of our skills and all of the like amazing skills that each different founder has and what they're like, why they started theirs and what their point of difference is? How do we combine that for a better result from the industry, for a
I
better
love that.
result?
I love that you're thinking bigger, right? And this is
Mm,
something I just really enjoy about you is you're truly a disruptor, and it's not about just the organization's gain, which is going to happen. This is about shifting the industry to think
mm,
different and to use some of the tools. Speaking of innovation and disrupting, let's get into AI. A lot of people are chatting about it. Like I said, is it hype? Is it real? You clearly have the behind the scenes because you all are using it, but walk me
mm,
through using AI avatars and automation and why
mm.
are there brands out there? I'm sure you deal with it. You have brands that you've probably worked where initially they're probably like, no, they're hesitating to wanting to use some of this technology.
Yeah, look, I think, look, the AI the AI world now, the rise of AI has just been, again, as I said earlier on, it's so much noise, and it takes people away from what actually matters, which is like being personal within our industry. There's automation. We're an industry, unfortunately, that's not a need; it's a want.
Mhm.
We're not a need. So what I mean by that is if you've got plumbing or electricity or it's something it's a need, and you have to have that to live. That's where I feel AI is doing a lot better when we're in such a personal industry. So, for
Mhm.
instance, voice AI, it's nowhere near there yet for our industry because
Right.
people don't want to talk to an AI agent, even no matter how good they sound, how great they are. It will come, but still our industry, people want to speak to someone about their problems. They want to speak to someone that they can relate to.
Right.
One of our partners, Chris from the sales arms, speaks about this perfectly. He's like, we are so personal with what we do. It has to come through every part of our business. So that customer experience, if they have a really bad experience with the AI tool at the start, it's going to ruin them and turn them off straight away and not even come in, even if it was the best studio in the world. So I think there's a lot of noise around AI. I think it's a brilliant tool. I think from the marketing point of view, there are a lot of tools out there that support with video editing, with creating content, avatars as well. But again, people can start to tell now that that's an AI avatar. So if it is an AI avatar, then I see comments on different creative, on different companies, and look, I get it, but I still think it needs to be personal
Yeah,
for
I
now.
love it.
The
Well,
automation,
you went to the ATN summit,
yeah,
or the innovation summit. And by the way, it was
mhm,
great to see you on stage. I wasn't there, but it was great to see some of the takeaways and the pictures and the videos. And you said, and I love that you said this, you said you can't outcoach a slow pipeline. Can you break that down? And even thinking about AI, speaking of AI agents, like, have you found for now, and it might be different in the future, but have you found right now where is the best ROI? And I'm thinking on the finance end, right? It's where's the best placement of AI agents right now that we're seeing some good results from?
it's anything that's manual work on the back end. So data input, so data implementation, stuff like that. Back end, look, lead nurturing, it can work really well with. So back end lead nurturing, we've actually used it. We've got that in our business, and it nurtures the leads, and it sounds like a person. So that works
Wow.
really well there. And anything on the back end. So we're looking at AI agents for answering emails, and it doesn't answer the email and do it all for the person, but it will respond, and it will go through, and it will sit in draft ready for you to have a look at, QA it, and
I
then
need that.
send it. So stuff like that, where it's manual, like a lot of manual labor, it works really well, but still on that front end with a customer experience, it needs to be a person. Um, it also depends on the modality as well. If
Mhm.
someone knows, and again, on the marketing and the funnel, if someone knows what they're getting and they've seen great marketing and everything, and then they get to an AI and they just want to purchase, then it could work. But I still think there needs to be so much more work done on putting data and teaching the AI on how to respond better.
Yeah, I think that
Mm.
quality control, right? I'll tell you, I was
Mm.
speaking to, I knew it was, and it was good. It sounded great, but it was an AI agent for an airline. And it was just we weren't getting anywhere, right? And it wasn't
Mm.
understanding what I was trying to put out there because it was a complex situation. And so,
Yeah,
man, we're just not there yet, especially on the customer service side. But you're right, more of the administrative, the monotonous things. And I'm seeing
yeah,
it actually do well in sales and the lead management system or funnel system, but
mm.
quality, right? It will get there though. I love that
Yeah,
that you say that because if
yeah,
it's not right now, it's okay. It's gonna get there. Maybe position yourself so
exactly.
that you're ready for when it's ready.
Yeah,
But
well, you
walk me
need
through without giving your secret sauce, what is your AI roadmap for 26, 27, 2026,
Yeah,
2027?
look, we internally with our company, we've got cheap GPTs, about 16 to 20 GPTs for each
Wow.
different department. So I've got my own co-CEO, I've got a content creation, I've got like many different GPTs, which is so handy. And it really does help you be more efficient. And I wouldn't say speed up your work, but it just helps you get stuff done so much more efficiently, and you don't have to spend so much brain power on one thing. It helps
Yeah.
you. I feel like it's helping us. It helps me definitely make decisions a lot more clearer with a lot more clarity, which is fantastic. And then in 26, our plan is to We've got a company where we're sourcing out to implement agentic AI into our organizational structure. So we've got an org chart currently, and as we go through and we acquire and we do the M&A roll-up, we then start adding the agentic AI into those spots. So for instance, how do we source and how do we identify a good acquisition? So we're going to have agentic AI that has got all the data of what we've done already of the last 5 acquisitions, and then we basically teach the AI, this is what we look for, this is what we do, help us reach out and that stuff like that. So that's what we're going to be doing in 26.
I'm sure there's some studio owners or franchise owners that this is just completely going over their head right now because maybe they
Mm,
haven't dabbled, right? Clearly you
mm,
have, and this is your world. What would you recommend to those that are listening right now, watching this, that
mm,
still a little unsure? I don't know where to put AI. I don't know what AI is because there's many forms of it, right? From
mm.
generative to agentic workflows
Yep,
to agents, etc. What's your recommendation to many of these business owners that know they need to position themselves for the future
yep,
and set themselves up for success? They just don't know what to do. They're afraid of the
mm,
hallucinations, the errors, right?
yeah.
Or they don't think that there's enough data to show ROI. What do you think? What would you tell them?
I'd straight away educate yourself, listen to podcasts, listen to there's books on it. You can listen to Audible books, you can read, you can, again, a lot of podcasts out there about what's working, what's not. And again, it's just education. And then the last thing is just have fun and don't be afraid of change. We as
Yeah,
humans hate change. So we're doing this one thing one way. Oh, I've got a person that does this. Again, that could be taken over by AI. It doesn't mean the person's going to lose their job. It means it's going to make them more efficient. How can
right.
AI help me with this? Not how can AI do this for me? And again, have fun with it and embrace failure. That's the number one thing that people, I want it perfect straight away. It's nothing's perfect in life. Nothing. So
Yeah,
if you get comfortable with, all right, we tried that, it didn't work with AI, let's try this thing, let's try this. And just because it didn't work once doesn't mean it's not going to work in the future.
yeah. I love that. And it's kind of
Mm,
like we could all relate with this as you're working out, right? You think about how
exactly.
you experiment, how you're
Exactly.
shocking the body a little bit. Very
Mm,
similar to using this tool and just try it, right?
mm.
Experiment. You
Exactly.
are a global organization and you have team members across the globe.
Mm,
It's a very tight crew as I've gotten to learn more. How does that work from a remote setting on collaboration, and how do you tap into
mm.
your leadership? How, because there's a lot of people listening that also are remote. How has
Yeah.
that challenged your leadership, and what do you do for your own professional development?
Yeah. So leading a team fully remote we've got like multiple different countries throughout the world, Europe, South America, North America, Asia, everywhere, Australia. And it really comes down to understanding your team, understanding what their goals are. How do we help them use our company, SFG, as a vehicle to get to their goals? Because everyone's got goals.
Mhm.
Everyone wants to be a part of something. Everyone wants to be a part of a great culture and somewhere that they feel valued. So one thing I practice is, and because we are fully remote, is we use our huddle or Slack huddles as
Yeah,
an office door. So I paint the analogy of, imagine we're in an office team and you can walk through my door by pressing that huddle button and you're in my office and we
love
can
that.
talk. And I've got an open door policy. You can call me, you can text me at any time, you can walk through that door at any time. So really helping them understand that I'm there to support them. And as a CEO, I'm not the CEO that just sits back and I want to understand what their friction points are. They can come to
Yeah,
me about anything. If they're not happy about something, they can come to me. If they're getting wins, we've got a wins channel in Slack that just we constantly putting wins in. So we do up that morale because again, we don't have the office, we don't have the ability to do that.
right.
So again, just really understanding our staff and again, letting them know that we want you to work autonomously. This is your department. You're in charge of this. If you make a mistake, that's fine. We look at it. We learn from it. We look at it as a compliment, as a blessing, and then we keep moving forward and we keep moving forward. So I embrace failure for them and make sure that they understand that if you do make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Right? We
Love
are
it.
going to move
And
forward from it and we're going to, yeah. If it's the same mistake too many times though, then it becomes a pattern and a behavioral pattern. And then that's when it gets a little bit
different
different.
conversation. What I
Yeah.
love that you just shared, actually, I learned about this recently. I couldn't believe I didn't know, but on Slack, you mentioned huddle. Yes, it's you
Yeah.
can directly ask us, get in a meeting room and see each other. So I love that office door approach because I know there's a lot of franchisors on here where HQ is basically remote. And so
Yeah.
having that ability to communicate that way, in addition to, your threads and all of that,
Mm,
I love that.
exactly.
From being a leader, you're studio owner, gym owner, to building this amazing brand. I'm sure, whether it's professionally or even impacting personal life, would have been some of the tough moments. There's a lot of owners and business leaders that are listening that probably just want to feel a little normal. That, oh my goodness, this is very similar. This is
Oh,
relatable. What are some of those challenges you faced?
where do I start? It's yeah. When we first started the business, we were in operation. We opened SupaFitGrow. When was it? 20. We're actually SupaFit Gyms, and then we rebranded to SupaFitGrow because we didn't want to cut off health, wellness, and all the rest of the modalities out
Right.
there. So we started in 21 October, November, and we grew so quickly, so fast, like
Mm.
really, really fast, and did a lot of work on branding and getting out there. And at the end of 2022, end of 2022, we went to our first conference with Beyond Active. So we joined on that, and we went there, and my co-founders internet got hacked. So he got fully hacked, and
Oh
all of
my
our clients
goodness.
got hacked, and it was really bad. Like they stole a lot of money. They spent a lot of money, of our clients' money. And that was a moment that was so painful. I thought, oh, this is it. This is how
Yeah.
we're going
How
to
do you
come
go to
back.
bed? Oh man, that's
Even
tough.
though and just knowing that clients' money had been spent, we caught it pretty early, which was lucky. But then they came in and they were in there. We couldn't get them out. And we were doing everything. Then they did it again. So they
Wow.
spent more money again. They hacked again, and it was like we were in so much pain. So that was one part of it. It went
Yeah.
on for about 3 or 4 months. Now we've got like cybersecurity. We hired a big
Secure
team
to
that
the
they put
T. No
everything
one's
there.
getting in this thing.
But that again, that we felt that it was very like, oh, whether we're such a bad company. But when we got on with the cybersecurity company, they said that mate, we get this. So it made us feel a bit more normal, which was great. There's been a lot, mate. There's been like competitors try and take us down. We've had complete carbon copies of
Yeah.
other agencies trying to do what we do. Same offer, same everything, like absolutely wild. Same landing page. You've had that. You get clients that, you go over and beyond for, and you do everything for them, and they try and shoot you down, and they leave bad reviews.
Wow.
And other agency owners will relate to this. We are so passionate about what we do. We want to help the clients, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah.
There's plenty of there's been financial hardships. There's just not being able to make payroll, even reinvesting, because every single cent, I barely pay myself. Every single cent we reinvest into the company. And it's what we're trying to do is something that's never been, I don't think it's been done before in our industry, or maybe on
Yeah.
a very small scale. And we're doing something quite out of the box. So again,
Yeah.
it's very, like you said before, disruptive. And another really hard thing recently we've gone through is my co-founder has stepped back from the business, and he's not in the business anymore. He's still a shareholder, but he's not actually operational. And that was something that I'd never experienced. And it was a relationship breakup.
Yeah.
Even though it was very amicable and supportive, it's still something you're going through. That's, again, it's how come you don't believe anymore? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
what's going on? So yeah, there's been a lot, and that's full transparency. And
No, I
I don't have
appreciate
anything to
that.
hide, and it's tough. And business is tough. People don't realize how many things go on in business. It's ridiculous.
That's why I love that you share this and just, being vulnerable and talking about
Mm,
the most recent one you just mentioned is the relationship. Many that are listening to this have co-founders and can have experienced that, right? And again, that's very amicable, and some don't have that, right? Where it was a
mm,
rough breakup, but this is business. And I think for some reason along the way, especially over the last 5-10 years, this entrepreneur story of everything's rainbows and butterflies, and it's easy and it's awesome, and you have all this autonomy. But what people don't realize is there is so many moving parts and so many things that can happen that are great for you, and then also that can set you back. But look at you, you've overcame. And I think that's probably coming back to your special forces and military training. Like you just
yeah.
run through the wall. I love it. Well, I
Mm,
wanted to ask you because I want to talk about growth. People, I mean, it's growth story right now. We're seeing a lot of roll-ups and private equity and funding and
mm,
new units and all of that. But I'm really curious about what you think here. The fitness industry, when it comes to tech and AI and systems, or even specifically to marketing, do you feel like while we're still a young industry, are we catching up enough? Are people moving? Are we still in this mode of, 2015s and it's 2026 now? What are you seeing out there? Do you see people coming on and adopting the technology, looking at targeted, hyper personalized marketing to improve the experience? Or do we still have a lot of room for opportunity?
mm. Good question. Look, there's a few moving parts to that question. The first one being pricing. And it grinds my gears and it pisses me off that everything else in the world is increasing in price. Yet you look at a fitness studio, it's still the same weekly or monthly price as it
Right.
was 5 to even 10 years ago. Might even be more back then. Like your functional fitness boutiques, going backwards. They're dropping their price because of the economy, because of the
Right.
competition, and people are to keep their members. They're looking at they're not increasing prices. So that's one thing I see studio owners, they just don't do it. Like every year, that price, even if it's $1.50 or $2 every year to keep up with inflation, to help you keep your doors open, because rent's going up.
Right.
Everything else is going up. Your franchise fees go up. Like everything, whether you're a franchise independent, it's tough. So the number one thing I've seen we're very slow to adopt is price increases. It's wild.
Yeah.
People nowadays are valuing their health a lot more. We've got more people working out than ever before.
Yeah.
And it's the way we position our product and our brand to show value, so they do pay a higher premium and a higher price, which is better for obviously the studio owners, better for their break even prices, better for like the EBITDA, but also think a lot of owners get into it and they don't think about what that exit looks like. It's, I love fitness. Oh, I want to open a fitness studio. It's easy. And well, what's your exit strategy? How are you going to build this thing? And have the exit strategy in mind first and then build back from there. So that's one part.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's adoption of AI. I think again, it sounds good, and it makes it sound like our job's going to be easy. It's no, it's not going to be hard. It's going to be a process. And again, there has to be a strategy and a plan. How do we implement AI over time to generate great results, to get good results? Not let's put AI and step back and let it work. And then when it doesn't work, we crack a shit. And then, we get the
The
shits
AI's
and
fault.
go on. Like there's some incredible AI companies out there, and I believe in AI as well, but it's the implementation of it. There has to be
I
strategy.
love
It's
that.
like, again, when you go to the gym and whether you're doing bodybuilding, whether you're training for high rocks, a triathlon, you go in there with a structured set plan. What's the end goal? I want to do this in this amount of time. I want to put this much muscle size on, whatever that is. Then you're going to have a plan, and you're going to go through that plan. You're going to implement week by week, get better and better. You're going to have deload weeks and recovery weeks. It's the same thing with business. Bang, bang, bang. Like a lot of business owners are on the ball all the time. They're constantly busy. Where's your deload week? Where's your week where you step back and you have a look and you reflect, and you're grateful for where you are. You're grateful for how much you've done.
Yeah. I love that. Now,
Mm.
speaking about your growth, and again, not to put you on the spot, I don't know if you're able to speak of the brands that you work with, and if you can just share the modalities. Is that Pilates? Is that
Yeah.
cycle? Is that like who are you seeing just based off of your data and some of the return on investment for marketing? Like what is hot right now?
Pilates is the hottest right now. Pilates
Yeah.
and recovery. But again, it all depends on their location and where they are and how much their rent is, what their break even numbers are. But the number one thing right now is Pilates and wellness. Like recovery and Pilates are super, super hot. Um, there's some functional brands as well that are doing really well, but again, it depends on the area, the
Mm.
demographic,
Yeah.
the size of the market they're in, what competition they've got. But the number one thing, wellness and Pilates right now, is
And you're
everywhere.
worldwide, so you're seeing this, and Pilates is
Everywhere. Yep.
just it's
Mhm.
a massive wave right now, and I love that you talked about unit economics again and just
Mm.
talking about occupancy costs and payroll
Yeah.
and all of those things, really matter, so
Mm.
that's really exciting to see what's going on in Pilates and wellness,
And,
but it sounds like there are some functional spots or functional
mm,
studios that are still doing well, so
mm,
that's good. Now, as I think about Pilates, a lot of what I'm seeing, speaking of unit economics, is how do we get better dollar per square foot? And actually, people or owners are starting to, and some are listening to this, go with a smaller footprint, right? And
Yep.
what they're finding is, you know what? Based on our price point, smaller footprint, the amount of, let's call it reformers in this case, we don't necessarily need as many members as we used to.
We don't. And that's
Now, how does that impact your business, right? As you're looking for narrowing lead count and all of that, is it
but
even
we don't
more important if
well,
you're looking for a smaller member base and more important that you have the right people and you retain them?
again, it all comes down to structure and customization for the client. So again, we've got clients that do have that smaller footprint studio, or they do have that business that's a smaller footprint, and they're typically so much happier because they're managing a smaller amount of people. Maybe they're 120 to 150 members. Their price point's higher, so they feel valued, and clients stay with them because their community's a lot stronger. When you get up to that 600, 400 mark, and we've got a couple of clients that are at that,
Yeah.
it's tougher. The cancellations increase. It's like any business. As you grow, more problems. So
Right.
it might sound good having 450 members, but what would it look like at 150 or 200 with a price increase, as I spoke about earlier, with a higher price point that obviously customers feel valued, and it depends on your brand as well. If you've got a premium brand, you have to charge premium prices. You can't. It's like going to a steakhouse, like a really like puppy steak in Miami.
You're
You're
gonna
like
make
going
me
there.
hungry.
It's like going there and then charging McDonald's prices. It
Yeah,
wouldn't matter.
that's
It
a good
wouldn't
point.
make sense. But oh, hang on, and then you identify. Oh, this mustn't be a good steak. It would be very weird.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, you call that a steal. That's a
Yeah,
steal.
exactly.
Um, like you, there's a lot of owners that were at that point or are currently there where it's like, I need to grow, I want to scale. You
Mm,
clearly did your homework and you're taking action, you're acquiring other marketing agencies and all of that.
mm.
What's your advice to those owners listening right now that they know they want to scale, they know they need to expand, they maybe even have the capital to do it, but they're just afraid to take that next step. Maybe they don't think they can replicate the flagship or replicate the successful network that they have now. How did you get through that? What do you recommend, or what's your best advice there?
All mindset and limiting beliefs. It's all it is. It's simple. It is so simple. It's this in their mind, and it's their limiting beliefs that shit has happened in their life along the way, and they feel like they can never get there. It's like the 4 minute mile. Like it was never done. It got done, and now it can keep being done. It's the same thing as a fitness studio. If that studio has gotten to that, you can 100% get yours to that. It's how much do you actually want it. It's
Yeah.
courage, it's mindset, it's self-belief, it's get out there and do the things that are holding you back. Create the content that your marketing agency needs. Because I'm telling you now, these marketing agencies will be begging for good content. You know
Yep.
what I mean? It's getting out there and building relationships with all the local businesses in your area so they know who you are, telling your personal story, make relationships with the local sporting communities. Like get out there and actually fucking have a go, and don't sit back and want it to happen for you. Because I'm telling you now, nothing fucking happens for you in life. You got to make it happen. It's simple
I'm
as that.
cutting that clip, and we're posting, and I'll be posting that one every week because more people need to hear about that. I love that. Now,
Mm.
aside from connecting with you and your organization and partnering up with SupaFitGrow, what are two things for 2026 that every studio, fitness, wellness owner, franchise owner should have at the top of their marketing plan for next year? What are those two things?
Content creation. So making sure you're creating exceptional content, organic and paid. Your organic has to be strong. Like
Yeah.
get your organic house in order, and then have a very clear strategy. Do your due diligence on a company. If you're going to go to an agency, there's some great agencies out there, incredible agencies. Do your due diligence on them and build a strong relationship, and don't expect immediate results straight away all the time.
That's the tough
Ride
one.
the wave.
Yeah.
They're the two things they need to focus on.
So good. You heard them there. Those are the two things. Now, I mentioned they got to get with your organization because you all know how to do it well. And I'm sure there's people listening. They're like, I don't even know how to do what he just said. So clearly you have a solution here. So, Benji, how can people get a hold of you or learn more about how they can partner with SupaFitGrow, or maybe
Yeah.
even they want to learn more about the potential acquisition roadmap and
Mhm.
even being a candidate to meet your requirements and expectations, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, definitely. You can check our website out, superfitgrow.io. You can hit me up on Instagram, superfitbenji, so SUPAFITBENJI. You can also hit our email, benji@superfitgrow.com, and it's with an A, not with an ER. We've still got some clients that use super as a normal word, but it's SUPA. So you can hit us up on email, go to our website, check us out on Instagram, SuperFitGrow on Instagram as well, and then my personal handle also.
I love it. This is so good. And I'm so excited. You're the first episode of this relaunch, the owner seat. There's going to be more of these type of episodes like Benji, who's telling his story, who's being vulnerable about the highlights, but also some of those challenges, as you heard
Mm,
earlier, that many of us go through and how you overcome them. I'm going to get that clip because we have to push through. And Benji, so inspiring. You're disrupting our industry for the better worldwide, which is so cool. But we got to get more of this in the States as well, which I know that's part of your plan. And
def-
y'all, if you're all listening, as I always mention, I'm the fractional CFO at Stratego. So you can find more about that if you're looking for someone that needs to support you in your finances, raise capital, or you need some type of bank relations. It's strategointel.com, where I help fitness, wellness, and franchise brands build scalable, investor-ready finance back offices. Benji, such a pleasure. This was outstanding. Y'all, this is another episode. Well, the first one, and there's going to be plenty of more. We got it booked out through the rest of next year, which is very exciting. Thank you for the interest. Episodes are now releasing every Monday and Friday at 8 a.m. Central. This is the Owner Seat. I'm your host, Albert Ramos. Thank you so much. Thanks, Benji. Chat with you
Appreciate
soon.
it.
All right,
Thanks,
sir.
mate. See ya.